If you want to win in business, you should let others outwork you. Just make sure they never outperform you. Let's get to it. Hey, I'm Leon, CEO and founder of Selfmastered, a peak performance training company that transforms entrepreneurs into elite performers that can achieve in one day what they previously achieved in 1 week. I've coached and trained hundreds of entrepreneurs and invested in 37 of them. Today I want to talk about why hustle culture is probably destroying your chances of winning in business. There's a very famous quote by Bill Gates that said that if I want something done fast, I will find a lazy person to do it because he will find an easy way of making sure it happens, right? I'm paraphrasing. The idea is that in any situation, it is sensible to look for highly leveraged ways, smart ways of achieving your goals, and not just trying to brute force your way towards your goals, because otherwise you will risk burnout, which is what most entrepreneurs are going through. The statistics are just mind-blowing. 70% of entrepreneurs feel overwhelmed and overstretched. About 70% of any given day is wasted in distractions. 40% never get more than 30 minutes of straight focused time. And 70% of them have experienced burnout. And this obviously has consequences because most businesses fail within the first 5 years and only 25% survive more than a decade. And on the personal side, they're 20% more prone to divorce and 3 times more likely to struggle with addiction. In other words, being an entrepreneur is hard, too much stress, and that leads to burnout. And it is very easy to make your life miserable if you're not careful. But why does this happen? Is there a better way? Well, I'm convinced it is. And after years training, coaching, mentoring entrepreneurs, I realized that a focus on smart work, specifically on bringing as many sources of leverage within your day-to-day, is the best way to ensure that you have a chance at building the business you want. Because otherwise you're left with hard work. You're left with what is called hustle culture, in which hard work, long hours, hustling through the weekend, and never taking a day off is a badge of honor. Irony regarding this trend is that if you have unrealistic expectations about your output, if you burn yourself to the ground, you end up being less productive than if you have a structured and systematic approach to productivity that involves frequent rest and recovery protocols that allow your mind and your body to recharge. So the top performing entrepreneurs, the elite founders that we work with, they're not hustling and grinding 80, 90, 100 hours a week. Instead, they are cramming most of their work within between 30 and 40 hours per week. And they're outperforming any of their peers that work longer hours. Now, I know that you've heard Elon Musk said 1,000 times that no one changed the world on 40 hours a week. And that is somewhat true in a sense that the amount of hours that you need to work depends on the size of the projects that you are working on. Obviously, if you're trying to take humanity to Mars and build an electric car company and revamp Twitter and make it the super app, well, there's a lot of things going on. And therefore, you probably need to work more hours than the average person that is trying to build a 6 or 7 figure business. If this is you, if you're trying to build a 6 or a 7 figure business, let me tell you, you shouldn't be working more than 20 or 30 hours per week because you do not need to. The solution to this riddle is to find sources of leverage and deploy them within your day-to-day work. Sources of leverage that can be hiring other people, creating systems that automate the work, use tools that just systematize everything, but don't try to reinvent the wheel. And more importantly, do not fall for the complexity trap. If you're chasing a 7-figure business, you only need one offer, one channel, one avatar, and one transformation that you provide to that avatar. That's it. Don't fall for the trap of thinking that you need more than one channel, that you need to offer more than one result, that you need to address more than one avatar. The most important thing at this stage is to remain simple in your approach and focus in your execution. And instead of hustling your way to 7 figures, find ways of implementing leverage, other people's work or systems or whatever that can help you get there. There's not enough hours during the day to do everything you need to do. So try to be smart about it and follow Gates' advice. Try to think like a lazy person. How would a lazy person do the work? What magic would a lazy person deploy to avoid overworking? What if you suddenly find yourself being the father of 4 kids, for instance? How would you grow your business on half time? You need to ask yourself these hard questions, because there's no excuse for falling for the hustle trap, which, as we know, has health consequences. So never let others outperform you. Never let others have better results per unit of time and effort than you. But most certainly, let others outwork you, because your results do not depend on hard work exclusively. They mostly depend on smart work. See you in the next video.